This is an extract from the Leader Coronavirus Daily podcast by the Evening Standard and hosted by me, David Marsland. To hear the whole thing, search for it on your podcast provider. A bank holiday indoors doesn't have to be dull. In the Evening Standard and online at standard.co.uk, we've plenty ideas for what you can do, as our editorial column explains.
The Easter break is about to begin. You may need a reminder. Life in lockdown blends days into each other. Just to pile on the pain, the forecast is wonderful, but you can't go out for more than an hour's exercise. So that trip to Brighton Beach or the Lake District will have to wait until Easter 2021, by which time it will probably be raining. Our advice? Turn instead to the bumper Evening Standard guide to getting active this Easter while staying in. There's no need to hold back on the chocolate. You can get Easter eggs delivered, or join a virtual hunt around Wimbledon and Putney Commons. You can find out what to watch, what to read, and how to attend a virtual service. You can pick between Renaissance art at the National Gallery and Mel C in Jesus Christ Superstar. Enjoy it, an Easter break like you've never known before.
You can also still meet up with friends, which is exactly what we're going to do now. I'm really happy to be joined by not just our arts editor, Nancy Dunnant, but also our writers, Katie Strick and Sam Fishwick. Nancy, starting with you, what are you up to this weekend?
I mean, I probably shouldn't say this as the arts editor of the Evening Standard, but I'm going to spend most of it in the garden, to be absolutely honest. You know, it's so beautiful out there and I can't believe it. So I am actually going to be sort of beyond my Wi-Fi for quite a lot of it. But there are some other things that I wanted to kind of catch up on. Hustlers has just hit Amazon. You know, that movie with Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
It's cruelly overlooked for the Oscar. So I want to catch up with that. And I think I might just submit to Tiger King.
Oh, you have to.
So
You have to. Katie Strick, you've been watching it, haven't you?
I've watched the first episode, but I must admit I was doing it on a Netflix party and it was so mad that I think I need to rewatch my own.
There is not a single character in that show who isn't absolutely crazy. Nancy, I'm so excited that I'm ahead of the arts editor in terms of both watching Tiger King and in terms of watching Hustlers.
The only other thing I really want to know, and again, this might be something everyone has seen and just thinks is, like, I can't believe how behind I am, but there's this show on Netflix called Kim's Convenience. I don't know if you know it. It's a Korean family in New York running a corner shop. I just came across it a few days ago and it looks really, really fun, and it's very funny, but it deals with the sort of complicated issues of living in a kind of melting pot city like New York or London, I suppose, in a kind of very gentle but quite insightful way. So it's got about 3 seasons, so I think I'm going to binge on that. I do like sort of, you know, gentle mainstream comedy.
Katie, you've been looking at some of the things that people can get up to this weekend, haven't you? What sort of things have you been writing about?
I've written about a whole range. I would say first 2 days of the weekend are looking amazing. I read this morning that London's going to be hotter than Ibiza for the next 2 days. So I would say save all your sunny garden activities for Friday and Saturday. I've been joking with my friends that I'm going to be going on a mini break to France. There's a vineyard in the Champagne region that's offering virtual vineyard tours. So perfect if you want to sit back with a glass of wine in the garden.
I want to do that, yeah. Sounds great.
There are penguins at Edinburgh Zoo being live streamed constantly all weekend. You can go to Disney World now and ride on a roller coaster or do a character meet and greet. Lots of escapism. On Sunday, there are lots of Sunday services as well. There's Westminster Abbey is doing its own podcast called Abbeycast. St Paul's is hosting a virtual hymn flash mob, which sounds quite intriguing, so I might have to tune into that. And then, of course, virtual Easter egg hunts as well.
Obviously.
Amazon Alexa has its own. Wimbledon Common is going to be hiding eggs on its website this year instead of outdoors. And then when the rain comes, if the rain comes, then everyone can get baking inside as well.
Sam Fishwick, are you going to be taking a virtual holiday?
Am I going to take a virtual holiday? This whole quarantine is a virtual holiday for me, David. No, I'm lucky enough to have a garden. I'm spending so much time in the garden. I've just ordered a heap of plants, which I'd love to be able to name off the top of my head. But I'm an amateur gardener flexing my green fingers, and that's what I'm planning on doing this weekend.
Nancy, the last time you and I were in the same room together, which feels like years ago, but it was only a few weeks ago, we were talking about the nightmare that was facing the arts industry. But it seems to have fought back now, doesn't it? There's so much that you can see, so much theatre you can see.
Yeah, there is actually. I mean, it's heartening, and people are giving a lot. Those who kind of book tickets for things, if they can afford it, a lot of them are writing it off as a donation, that kind of thing, which is great. And God, there's so much you can see if you want to get involved with it. That Fleabag, for example, the original Fleabag, which by the way I saw the first time around, obviously. I am ahead of the curve on something. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, that's gone up on Soho Theatre on Demand, and you can see that now for I think for a limited period, but it's £4 or more if you want to give more, and everybody involved with it has waived all of their fees and their royalties, so that all that money is going to go to kind of frontline charities fighting coronavirus, so that's great. There's a wonderful theatre company called High Tide, which, full disclosure, I am in fact on the board for because I think it's so great, and it's a new writing charity or new writing company. And they, from 5 o'clock tonight, they've commissioned a lot of new monologues by young writers, and the first 2 of those are going to go live tonight. So you can hear Jade Anuka, who you might have seen in Cleaning Up, performing a monologue by a very interesting young playwright called Aisha Zia, and Katie Lyons, who you may remember as Naughty Rachel from Green Wing. She is doing the new monologue by Morgan Lloyd Malcolm, who wrote Amelia, which was, as you know, a massive hit. So those should be really fun, and they can be seen on High Tides. I think they have a YouTube channel and a Facebook channel as well, so those are cool. And one other thing, which is, I know this sounds like an insane thing to say, but there has never been a better time to get into opera. I cannot afford to go to the opera. It is so expensive. And there's, lots and lots of opera companies all over the world. The Met Opera is doing a stream every night for free. The Royal Opera House has got loads of material on Marquee TV, which is doing, I think, a 30-day free trial at the moment. So you can binge on that, and ballet as well, should you wish to. It's brilliant. And if you go onto the Standard website and look up the piece that came out a couple of days ago by Nick Kimberley, there's a few pointers on what you should look for.
Katie, you've been doing choir singing, which we spoke to you about on the podcast before. Would you do opera?
I wouldn't say no. It's, as Nancy says, something I've never been into before, but actually I think she's totally twisted my arm with that plug. So yes, I would try opera, but please don't hold me to it.
But Sam, you're going to be doing some work with the NHS, aren't you?
I am. I've been accepted to the NHS volunteer service, the Royal Volunteer Service, which I'm really, really excited about. I've been speaking to some of the volunteers from there, and the work they do is amazing. I don't have a car, which I thought was going to be an obstacle to me being particularly useful, but I'm going to be simply doing things like check in and check, which is just where you call people and make sure they're not lonely. And frankly, I'm looking forward to having someone to talk to. It's a little like, I've been told off describing it like this in the past, but here we go. It's a little like Uber for volunteering, in that you get a notification on your app if there are people in your area who need help. You accept the task, you can turn the task down, and what I like most about it is the app is called Good Sam, which really appeals to my brand.
Yes, it does.
To clarify, it's short for Good Samaritan, but quite a nice way to just get out of the house. I mean, on the one hand, I've done precious little to help anybody, apart from sort of go out at 8 p.m. every Thursday and trying to alleviate my conscience by kind of clapping my heart out for the NHS. But it really does feel nice to be able to be able to do something, and it really does make a difference as well. I mean, they were so oversubscribed that I feel quite lucky to have got through.
And Katie, just to sum up there, it's going to be a bank holiday like never before, but it doesn't have to be boring.
Absolutely not. No, I think it's nice to know that you don't just have to see one set of grandparents for the whole weekend, one set of friends. You can have back-to-back Zoom calls every night if you want. You can have a virtual dinner party. You can make your own dining table look really lovely. It is 4 days off what everyone else has been doing for the majority of the time. So I think make the most of the sun when you can, make the most of being able to learn a new skill. And this will always be an Easter to remember.
Search for the Leader Coronavirus Daily on any podcast provider to hear more from the podcast.